and welcome back to another episode of Marketing Corner. This is episode 85. So
That's
we're
right.
getting there, getting very close to the 100, the big O. And today we're going to be talking about none other than AI. But not in your
What?
traditional... Yeah, I know. I know.
What? AI?
More AI chatter. But no, today I feel like we're going to take a bit more of a, let's call it an ethical stance or something similar to that vibration within marketing. And we're going to talk a little bit more about quality versus quantity versus AI output. Let's call it that. Why are we here today, Jen? Set us up. Set me up for success here.
Yes, I'll do the layup and you can do the slam dunk. No, so
I
I'm
just
on.
did the layup, though. Come on.
You did the layup. I'll do the
that's
slam dunk.
The layup. Okay,
Thank
cool.
you.
You do it.
Sports chat with Casper and Jen. Sports.
Yeah.
We love sports. You love Dungeons and Dragons.
You actually, just side note for everyone listening, like when Jen was at sassiest and speaking at the stage, it was a sports talk.
Did you know I was the third American on stage to do a sports talk as well?
Yeah, exactly. There's something about that. That's so weird. Slight side note.
Yeah.
All right.
Sports.
Layup. Done. Slam dunk.
I got the ball. Here we go. Yeah. So I saw a TED Talk about AI and marketing. And basically it was talking a little bit about, there was a Harvard Business Review from 2023 that found that AI has improved productivity for marketers by 40%, which means, 40% of our time is being saved now thanks to AI. And the question that this individual who is speaking asks is, what do we marketers do with 40% more time? Do we take that time off to spend with our families? Probably not.
Of course we do.
Do we B, come up with more ideas and more things we can execute on? Or C, do we get fired because AI has taken our jobs? It's obviously more likely B that, and so it got me thinking of we marketers tend to be measured on our output, and that's in terms of quantity. If you had 40% more time to work on a campaign, to work on a blog post, to work on a landing page, whatever that might be, you could really increase the quality. But the other side of the coin is that people are looking at you and going, we want to see more output. We want to see more blog posts. We don't want to see better blog posts. We want to see more. We want to see more ads. We want to see more campaigns, because a lot of what we're measured on and what we're under the microscope is our output quantity wise. Yeah. And I just got thinking, wouldn't it be really great if we could spend that 40% more time making stuff that really matters and provides value and adds impact? So that was just something I wanted to bring to the pod and get your thoughts on of do you agree with the time save and how would you spend it and why can't we spend it?
I got to ask a question first. So have you ever actually, and I know this is a weird question, and maybe I just rock in the wrong circles or whatever you say, but I've never actually met anyone who got fired because of AI in marketing yet. Have you met someone?
No.
Do you know anyone? Maybe it's just because we're in Denmark, Copenhagen, whatever, but actually, I've seen a lot on LinkedIn about it and stuff, but I've actually never met anyone who said, yeah, I got laid off because we totally made our whole operation more efficient and hired AI bots or whatever. I've actually never met anyone.
No, I haven't either. We talked a while back with AI marketing, the bad marketers. Sure. Yeah. They're probably gone, but I don't hang out with bad marketers, so I wouldn't know of them.
Snippety snap. I love that. That was smooth. That was really smooth. But I'm serious, actually. It's kind of I don't know, maybe it's just too early to say, but I still feel it has been out for quite some time. The efficiency part of it should be a part. And I think that kind of brings me to the next point of saying, okay, so is it actually, first of all, I'm going to challenge the 40%. That's there are probably people who got way more efficient, copywriting people, I think we talked about before. Agreed. Copywriting people, I know our copywriter Mila, I know she uses AI, I know my assistant Monique uses it a lot too, and that's totally cool. We use it in creative as well. Those got a lot more efficient, but I can't say that I personally save 40% of my time. Do you?
I wouldn't say I save 40% time in work, but I think outside work, when I do a LinkedIn post, sometimes I'll run it through ChatGPT and go, make this shorter or, get this tidier. I tend to ramble. I don't know if anyone noticed. So it helps me with that. But yeah, I think when it comes to work, I don't really use AI to cut corners. And we were talking off air, like we're not the executors, we're the strategic people, we're the people managers. So there's not a lot, maybe someone's going to come for me, but there's not a lot that AI can do to help us in our strategic role. Because
at least not in the form that we're like, don't get me wrong, there's a million AIs and there's going to be people screaming, well, have you tried this tool that can make your strategic thinking better? I'm like, yeah, it is. Yeah, sure, we're good. But like fundamentally, like I don't see that either. So, but that's kind of like what I'm coming from. Like I don't feel the 40%. I feel like I'm more efficient, but I actually use AI less than I thought I would in the beginning. I use it a lot for like cleaning up things and like I use it a lot for translating.
Yeah. That's fair.
I use it a lot
English
for
is your
coming
second
up
language.
for ideas for topics or like stuff like that too. But it's not 40%.
Yeah, and I think they didn't really specify what kind of marketing. So they didn't say content marketers or, performance marketers. They just said marketing has been impacted by AI more than other business functions. Because I don't think CS and maybe sales, sales can use, you showed me a tool just now, Clay, that, can help with sales outbound, and there's Gong and there's a lot of different tools that can help. But I don't think my sales team has 40% more time on their hands.
I use a tool called Sybil, which is like an AI note taker. So it takes notes for me and records my calls. And I think that tool alone might count up for 40% of my time. Because like I don't take notes in meetings anymore. I literally don't take notes. It just reports my notes and passes it on. And then I also have some people. But the AI does 90% of the lifting in that case, and that's pretty fucking powerful. So, but that's not really related to marketing. That's kind of my point with this. It could be anything, but okay. But like, so let's get back to this whole quality versus quantity kind of discussion. Like, I think that's kind of like what it stems from. It's just understanding what do we do with that extra time. And I think like what you're also alluding to is exactly what I'm thinking and what I'm seeing as well, is that this doesn't mean that we're increasing quality. It just, in most of the cases I'm experiencing, it feels like it's just increasing output, like amount of
do more
more. There's more blog posts being written. There's more LinkedIn posts being written. There's more things being done, and more, as we all know, is not necessarily better. I think it's like, I just want to put a caveat. It's not always necessarily a bad thing. Like I saw a guy who ran a SEO experiment where they had to create a website. I can't remember the actual website name. That's a little bit embarrassing. But a website. It was a little bit of a small competition where the winner would win the website. Anyways, and it would just be, I think it was based on 4 weeks or like not a lot of time, like 2 months, something like that. And then it would be based on if you could get it to rank organically just using AI written content. You would not produce any like only AI written stuff. And it did. It got like 12,500 visitors per month. I think.
Wow.
I think so. It must have been a longer period, but like not that long, 3 months, 4 months maybe. Which is insane to me. So from that, of course, it doesn't tell you anything about like the quality of the traffic, if people converted or anything, but I don't think that matters too much in this case. Like you got 12,500 people to come visit, like just based on some AI generated stuff. It's pretty powerful. Like you can always tune it, right? Make it better. So, but I think the whole gist and at least my take is that I like it doesn't feel like quality is improving across the board. I'm not feeling that, hey, the stuff we're reading is getting better.
Exactly. And I think that's, it kind of ties to me a little bit of that, and also how we're measured. When we're measured, people, you don't have your, CRO or your CCO or your CEO, whoever you report to, your VP of marketing. They're not like, wow, this report that you did that took you 2 months was awesome. Great job. It's more like, how many blog posts did you get out this month? I've had, not in my current role, but I've had in other roles where a target was do 4 blog posts a month. It wasn't high quality. It wasn't do white papers. It wasn't do research. It was get 4 posts out per month. And if I guess, and this was pre-ChatGPT, but now with that, could it be 6? Could it be 8? You're using AI or whatever it is. And it's not good. And we can tell when something right now, sure, the technology is improving all the time, but we can tell right now if something is AI or not. If someone puts in ChatGPT, write me a blog post about IoT, I could tell this was written by a computer. This was not written by a human being who did their research. And what is it we're trying to achieve with that?
Yes, I agree. And there's also a lot of like these phrases that you can really clearly tell are from AI. It's kind of like we were making. When this comes out, this episode, I think we are done. So I'm gonna spoil it slightly. But we're making these like small. We're making these video ads, like horror movie ads, and one of them is about using AI to produce content and stuff. And for instance, the word streamline. Fuck it, man. Like AI uses streamline all the time. Enhance. Right? Mm-hmm. Enhance and streamline your operations.
Enrich.
What the fuck does that mean? Enrich. Oh, God. Yeah. So those kind of like buzzword. And that, you have to remember AI is doing this because other people have been doing this. It's not AI's idea. The AI's idea. So yeah. I don't feel like the quality is improving that much. Is there a question? Could it be interesting? So let's take the example you brought up of saying like you used to be able to produce 4. Now let's say the target is 8. Does that, as a marketing department, if we disregard the fact that we hate what we're spitting out here, but does that improve your performance as a marketing department? Like, does that bring in more revenue at the end of the day by doing that? Is that your impression?
No, not at all. I think it actually hurts our position.
Okay.
Yeah. Personally, because we're kind of looking, what else can we write about? What else can we write about? And actually, just sort of anecdotally, when I worked at one particular company, I did an audit of all our blog posts, and we had 140, 150 blog posts. And I looked at all of them based on traffic and time spent on page. And the best performing that had like 85% of the share in traffic were 2 blog posts out of 150, because no one gives a shit. It's these 2 had the biggest impact. So then I was like, okay, we're going to do an infographic on this. We're going to do a webinar on this, and found the stuff that worked. But more, in my experience, doesn't equal better. And it also can kind of dilute your message, because what are you talking about now? There's only so much you can say about your particular industry. I guess, at least in my industry, I don't have enough to say twice a week some new groundbreaking information. And so I imagine other people are in that position too, of what are you saying, and is it worth saying?
Yeah. No, and I totally love that. I love the sound of that. It's not it's kind of crazy, right? Like, I also feel the same. Just feel like there's might be like I'm also like cynical, so I'm the kind of like, if it increases my revenue, I'm all for it, right? Like, but I think there's like a finite balance, because like I also think I think if you go from 4 to 6, let's do that. Even though the 6, like the next 2, are not the greatest quality, I don't think that's necessarily it. Yes, for us as readers, as consumers, it's awful. It's not the best. But as a marketing department, this is pretty good. Like, I actually think I don't mind that too much. But to come back to the original one, it doesn't it doesn't give us time to do, like, we're not spending the time right. Like, we're spending time on creating more of that thing instead of creating other new things. Like, I feel like the people who access these, like, tools, it's not like because they're going out and creating a new video where they explain how to use the tool, or, like, create some cool video content. It's not because they didn't say, okay, because we can outsource the blog to this AI, the blog creation, we're going to make this guide where we put in all our knowledge, and we do that manually. That's not, you don't spend your time that way, right? Like, I don't.
No, and that's more valuable. I think that's the thing that I'm trying to get to is when we have a target that's due 4 blog posts a month, we as marketers often have short-term and long-term goals. And the long-term goals are like high LTV, right? How do we keep the customers? How do we have them come back? How do we upsell them, retain them, all of that good stuff. But we have these sometimes weekly measurements of, did you do this? Did you do this? Did you do this? So how do you balance the short-term goals with the long-term vision? And, and I don't think that we are using AI for the right reasons, because it's not about these short-term goals. You could I could give you 1,000 blog posts a month. If it doesn't generate revenue, who gives a shit? Why are we doing it?
Yeah.
Whereas I would rather my team spend 2 months doing a really in-depth white paper that loads of people in market with high intent are going to find interesting than do 50 blog posts that are, sure, maybe we get traffic, but is it the right traffic? As you said earlier, are these people intent? Are they in market? Are they actually going to buy my product? Or is it a student or, someone who will never become a customer? Why are we spending our time on that? And so I guess maybe this is a bit of a loosey-goosey topic because we're kind of all over the place. But I think for me, it comes back to what are we being measured on and what are we trying to achieve? We're trying to achieve high LTV. We're trying to achieve happy customers who are going to stay with us for a long time, be dreams to work with for sales, be dreams to work with for CS. But we think we can do it by putting out a bunch of shitty blog posts instead of creating value.
And I love it. I think it's like anecdotally, like this is interesting. So I follow the sales communities, let's call it that, a lot. Like not because I'm only doing a lot of sales these days, but also because I always find it interesting. Like I feel like sales tech is always quite far ahead. So you mentioned earlier the tool Clay and all that stuff that's happening. And the stories I'm hearing from, let's call it the field, they're out there, the people really testing,
the buzz,
yeah, the ones who are doing the work, right? Anyways, the thing I'm hearing right now out there is that we're doing all these fancy tools. We're doing Clay, we're doing R2RB, we're doing all this fancy stuff, and yes, some of it seems to be working, but most of it doesn't seem to improve our overall our overall intake of revenue. Mm-hmm. And what I'm taking from that is that there's so much going out there right now that people really fast, really quickly are picking up on AI generated outreach and so forth. Mm-hmm. So you can see an email that's generated by AI. It's very clear.
Yeah.
And it's not working. So like, yes, it might have worked a month. It might have worked 2, 3, whatever, 6 months. It's not going to work forever. So that also brings me to the point of saying all these tools and all these things we're putting in place, where are they in 5, 10 years, if even that long, right? Do they even exist? Because like we're already we are maturing so fast as an audience. And yes, I know you and I and all the other people I look at on LinkedIn, we are at the forefront of this. So that doesn't mean that old school Carsten, who's 60 salesperson, he's not going to tell the difference. Maybe he is. I don't know. You get the drift. That's what I'm trying to say. Like he might not know all of this going on. But my point is just like, we are already this feels saturated, and it's so early on. It's already saturated. It's already at the point now where it's like it's not actually improving anyone. Like I don't fucking respond to these outbound emails, and I get 60 of them a day or something. Like, hey, agency owner, I can help you with like more leads for your agency. I'm like, what the fuck do you think I do?
Yeah, I get a lot for sales, and I'm like, I don't work in sales, and yeah.
And I think what I'm just trying to say is that if we see this in sales, and it feels a little bit to an extent that they're ahead of marketing in this sense, maybe they're not, who knows, but it doesn't really matter. Point being, if we see this in the sales area, I feel the same trend is happening in marketing, where it's like the same thing is happening. We get all these fancy tools, and it's not actually making things better.
Right.
Like the access to these tools and like all this stuff is not, the quality of what the work we do is not improving. Maybe the efficiency, but if we're not using that efficiency correctly, who the fuck cares?
Yeah. And again, it comes down to what are we trying to achieve?
Yeah.
We're trying to achieve revenue, and and one of the things I was just thinking of again, how are we measured? And we're measured, especially if you have a long sales cycle, right? You can't, if you are reporting week on week, it's very difficult to look at what worked 6 months later and go back and go, that thing I did over here, that's what worked. And, AI is supposed to be helping. It's just not. And we're just muddying the waters. We're just filling our days now. It feels like we're filling our days rather than, doing something meaningful.
Yeah, and
maybe I'm having an existential crisis because I'm on maternity leave. I think it's
no, but like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not saying AI is not helping my life easier, make it easier. Like, there's a lot of good things, and I'm definitely using. I just feel like a lot of people, myself to some extent included, we're being handed efficiency. You're being handed time. The most valuable resource anyone has ever had is time. And somebody is literally handing us time on a silver platter. And instead of spending it on something that's worth a lot, like family time, but or also just producing something creative, like using your brain in marketing. Really, I feel like we're just like, okay, now let's be more efficient at the thing we're already squeezing. Like we're squeezing the 1% out of our outreach emails or whatever it is. Let's squeeze 1% more of it. Like that's it feels
instead
wrong.
of trying something new.
Instead of using the time differently. And I feel that's the problem. And it's, to some extent, it feels like it's not the AI. AI is not the problem.
No.
The problem is just what we use the time for, right? Like,
yeah. And again, I think you get what, I'm going to keep saying the word measure, but you get what you measure. You get what you incentivize for. If you are incentivized to do MQLs, you are going to do what gets you MQLs. If you are incentivized for SQLs, you're going to do what gets you SQLs. We don't know if that's going to be a deal in 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, 16 months. We are just doing the thing that we know gets that email or gets that meeting. And that's not what we need as an organization. Yes, we like SQLs and we like MQLs because they're predictable. And a lot of us, we have to be predictable. We have to forecast, and that's great. But you get what you incentivize for, you get what you measure for. And I just sometimes think we could be using this time, as you said. I think you said it beautifully. We have this time on a silver platter. What are we doing with it? Oh, I can get more SQLs, or I could get really good high value. Like I would rather have 10 really high value SQLs than 50 small SQLs that are just going to leave within a year, right? But I'm not measured on that. I'm not measured on them staying. I'm measured on what can I get across the line this week. And that is reinforced with, okay, AI is going to help me make ad copy faster. It's going to help me make landing pages faster. Great. But are we reading these landing pages? Are they resonating with people? Are we looking back and saying, is this working? How can I improve upon this? It's just like, no, let's just do another one, do another one, do another one. This isn't working. Let's make a new campaign. It just feels like we're kind of putting the horse before the cart in a way of let's just keep putting things out there in the world rather than stop. Is this working?
And I think one thing I said before, and I think we're also kind of saying is the problem's not the tools. Like the problem is not the tools. Like the problem is our own mentality, right? Like because I was helping a buddy today, a guy called Thomas. I can say that, and he just started working for a company called Update Mate, which is like made by the founder of Clerk, Hans Christian. Pretty cool tool. So essentially, it just integrates with all the platforms you use, and then it has it goes in and prompts these different tools, and then gives you updates on what's going on. So essentially, you could be like, hey, every Monday you could set it up. So it'd be like, hey, in your CRM, why did we not close anything last week? Let's say that. And then it gives you an analysis. The AI analysis looks at it, hey, and then from all the conversations, looks like you're wrong on your pricing or whatever. Cool stuff like that. So the point is, that's the kind of application, at least from our strategic, where I get more, because otherwise I would be digging in data. Now I get some analysis, so I can spend my time on fixing that problem. That's for me. That's qualitative. That's qualitative. That's improving the quality output I can give. Because what I would otherwise do is sit there alone and look through these conversations, be like, okay, why we're not closing these deals or whatever, right? So that's for me, that's interesting. That's where AI is interesting, but that's not increasing. So it's increasing my time that I can allocate on the strategic thinking to help fix the problems. That's good,
and that's great.
So, and that's the thing that's where AI for me, and that's where my thinking is it's not the tools. It's been so early on that everyone feel like they jumped at the first opportunity. It was like, hey, we can automate our emails. Let's automate our emails. Yay, let's never write an email again.
Now we don't have to send emails anymore. A robot will do it. Yay, what do we do now? Let's make more calls.
Let's make more calls. Or hey, let's write another blog post. Yay.
Yeah.
Right? And now we're starting, hopefully, I feel like we're starting to mature a bit. We're like, okay, guys, that was not. What other things can we do? What are the things that really matter? So I don't know. That's kind of where I'm right now, at least.
Yeah, I think it's just. I agree with you full 100%. I think we should be using this extra time to improve the quality, improve the value that we're given, that we're giving to people, and rather measure on output. How many blog posts did you do this month? How many, So that's kind of just my gripe.
Yeah.
Don't know if we. Speaking of value, you know, did our listeners get any value from this? I'm not sure, but
if you stayed until at this point, you stayed for 25 minutes. Peace, Pope. So like something valuable hopefully sprung out of this. Yeah. Either way, we're gonna call it now. So thanks for tuning in. Do you want to say any last words about AI? Last words sounds so final.
Mike, are you going to kill me? No, it's. No, I think for me, the big takeaway is I think we have to work with the powers that be to measure the stuff that's really having an impact. And it's not always, more is not always better. We need to look at, with this extra time, could we be increasing the quality of what we're putting into the world rather than being measured on output? Yep. I don't have an answer for how to measure the quality, but I feel like we should be measuring quality because also as a consumer, I'm sick and tired of being bombarded with bullshit. And I'm sure that your prospects are sick and tired of being bombarded with bullshit. Give me something meaningful. Give me something that teaches me something. That takes time. And let's focus on doing that rather than let's pepper people with our name everywhere.
No, but that's exactly my 2 cents. Right. Like we're already saturated. Like I read an analysis, like some study the other day, like people are already super saturated with ads across platforms. We've never seen more ads in our life, and we've never cared less.
Amen.
And we're now spitting out more than ever. So it's like, that's not like, we can't keep going that way. It's not going to help. It's not going to improve things. We're not working to squeeze the last %. We're working to reinvent the other 50.
Exactly.
Like, that's how I feel about it. So, yeah.
That's a great way to end it. So let's end it on that. Well said. So,
mic drop. All right. Thanks for listening, guys. Take care.
See you on the next one. Bye.
Go spend your time well.
Yes.
Bye.
Provide value, people. Goodbye.